Headlines of VTV News. Vietnamese leader calls for strong innovation in party leadership. $650 billion Vietnamese dongs allocated to support localities affected by Typhoon Yagi. And later on in our world news, climate change is the biggest threat to global economy.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Hello and welcome to VTV News, broadcast live to you from Hanoi. You're with me, Lina Fatman. Here's the top news of the hour. In an article released on Monday, Party General Secretary and State President Tô Lâm called for continued support, a strong innovation in the party leadership, describing it as an urgent requirement of the new revolutionary period. According to him, improving the Vietnamese Communist Party's capacity for leadership and long-term governance remains the key factor that ensures the party is always pure and strong.
In his latest article, General Secretary and State President Tô Lâm reiterated President Ho Chi Minh's thought on party building. In terms of its leadership, the party needs to make good decisions, have strategic, well-organized implementations, and strong management. To innovate its leadership, the party must rely on its people. General Secretary and State President Tô Lâm also emphasized the importance of the party's leadership and the state's management, and a mechanism in which its people are the masters of the country. These principles are all reflected in the party's charter, the constitution, and legal regulations. However, many shortcomings and limitations remain in the renovation of party leadership. The functions, tasks, authority, and working relationships of organizations, individuals, and holders of top positions remain unclear, while decentralization and delegation of power are not strong enough. Shortcomings remain in the organizational models of the party and the political system, making it difficult to distinguish the boundary between leadership and management. General Secretary and State President Tô Lâm called for a strong reform of the leadership methodology and capacity. In his article, he emphasized many key tasks, including the strict implementation of the party's leadership and governance methods. The ruling party shouldn't ignore its responsibilities. The party rules by law, leads the promulgation of the Constitution and laws, and operates within the framework of the Constitution and laws. The party comprehensively leads the country and is responsible for all successes and shortcomings during the cause of fatherland construction and safeguarding. From that perspective, he called for streamlining the apparatus and organization of party agencies. The party's leadership tasks should not overlap with management tasks, distinguishing and clearly defining specific tasks of leaders at all levels in party organizations, and avoiding the situation of taking over responsibilities of others, overlapping tasks, or formality. Resolutions of party committees and party organizations at all levels must be concise, easy to understand, easy to remember, easy to absorb, and easy to be implemented. The General Secretary and State President also called for continued reform of the inspection and supervision work, promoting the application of information technology and digital transformation to party activities. The party inspects and supervises so that work is performed better and resolutions are implemented effectively.
Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính chaired a meeting with leaders of ministries and agencies in Hanoi on September the 16th. The meeting was held to thoroughly review the implementation of Resolution number 36 on the strategy for sustainable development of Vietnam's marine economy by 2030, with a vision to 2045. Also discussed were other key contents outlined in the 13th National Party Congress resolution. In light of global, regional, and East Sea developments, along with the nation's evolving needs, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính asked ministries, agencies, and localities to pool all available resources to propel the sustainable development of the sea-based economy while ensuring that national defense security remains integral to these efforts. Additionally, he asks to persist in maintaining a foreign policy of independence and self-reliance, multilateralism and diversification of external ties, and enhancing international cooperation on maritime issues in accordance with international law, particularly the 1982 United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS. Addressing the pressing issue of illegal, unreported, and unregulated, or IUU fishing, the Prime Minister ordered strict adherence to the Party Central Committee Secretariat and Prime Minister's directives. These efforts are pivotal in preventing and eliminating violations by Vietnamese fishing vessels in foreign waters. The Prime Minister has issued a new directive aimed at advancing digital transformation projects across ministries, branches, and localities. The directive emphasizes the need for ministries, ministerial level, agencies, government agencies, and people's committees of provinces and cities to leverage the insights and successes of Project Number 6. It calls for the development of digital transformation projects that are aligned with and build upon the framework of Project Number 6. The focus is on ensuring connectivity with Project Number 6 and directing efforts towards successful implementation by the end of 2025. The directive also outlines specific tasks for various ministries, branches, and localities, including deadlines for completion. Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính has issued a new official telegram regarding the urgent research and investment for constructing a new Phong Châu Bridge. This comes after the Prime Minister's official telegram number 89, which directed measures to address the consequences of recent bridge collapses and ensure safe traffic operations during the rainy and flood seasons, especially in the northwestern provinces. This bridge will be situated on National Highway 32C, connecting Tam Nông District and Lâm Thao District in Phú Thọ Province. Accordingly, the People's Committee of Phú Thọ Province was asked to hand over the report on the progress of the new Phong Châu construction plan before October 1st, 2024. Meanwhile, Ministers of Transport, Agriculture and Rural Development, Planning and Investment, and Finance are urged to complete all necessary documents for the construction plan, as well as necessary capital for the project, and report to the Prime Minister by September 20th. The Cái Mép Thị Vải International Port is a deep-water port complex in Bà Rịa Vũng Tàu province with a total length of more than 14 kilometers. It serves as a major international transshipment port, significantly reducing the transportation time of import and export goods between Vietnam and other countries. Cái Mép International Terminal, or CMIT, and Tân Cảng Cái Mép Thị Vải Terminal, or TCTT, are two adjacent terminals in the port complex. Each of them has a 600-meter-long berth, which can only receive a ship no longer than 370 meters. This limitation has reduced the operational efficiency of the port complex.
Cái Mép International Terminal CMIT and Tân Cảng Cái Mép Thị Vải Terminal CTCT usually accommodate only one large vessel with a length of 367 meters.
The large port complex has not operated at its full capacity as it cannot receive two large container ships at the same time.
In May, CMIT and TCTT announced cooperation to create a longer wharf scale with the aim of improving their service quality.
In addition to receiving mid-sized ships, now the port complex can receive more container ships per week. Its operational efficiency has been increased by more than 30 to 40%.
The cooperation of the two terminals is aimed at meeting the demand of large container ships worldwide, especially those with a carrying capacity of more than 200,000 in deadweight tonnage. The interconnected ports will help utilize the transport infrastructure as they can accommodate larger container ships.
Their combination establishes a common berth stretching 1,200 meters. Therefore, they can receive 3 container ships with a length of 360 to 400 meters simultaneously.
The cooperation between CMIT and TCTT is an important step towards forming a management mechanism and coordinating joint exploitation between all harbors in the Typhoon area.
According to the latest data from the General Department of Customs, Vietnam's export turnover of goods to Japan has surpassed $16 billion, marking a 4.8% increase from the same period last year. Japan, with a population of over 126 million, has substantial import and consumption demands for products such as fish and processed fish products, shrimp, eel, meat and meat products, soybeans, cereal products, fresh and processed vegetables, and coffee. Vietnam, known for its strengths in these areas, is well positioned to meet the needs of the Japanese market. Coming up next, 650 billion Vietnamese dongs allocated to support localities affected by Typhoon Yagi. And inspiring acts of kindness during Mid-Autumn Festival. Welcome back to VTV News. Demonstrating solidarity and sympathy with Vietnam over the damage caused by Typhoon Yagi, leaders from countries around the world have continued to send letters, telegrams, and messages of condolences to Party General Secretary and State President Tô Lâm, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính, and National Assembly Chairman Trần Thanh Mẫn. In their messages, Cambodia's acting head of state Samdech Techo Hun Sen, Prime Minister Hun Manet, and National Assembly President Huân Sudari expressed their confidence that Vietnam will overcome this difficult time with resilience. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and New Zealand Prime Minister Christopher Luxon affirmed their readiness to support Vietnam, helping those affected by the storm to overcome difficulties and restore normality into their lives. Pope Francis, President of Belarus Alexander Lukashenko, and President of Shewave Rakwalawan also cabled messages of condolence for its typhoon-induced losses. As of September the 16th, 20 nations and organizations had committed for or planned to provide over $22 million in aid, along with equipment for shelters, clean water, sanitation, and more. The Vietnam Fatherland Front Central Committee has announced a second round of support for localities impacted by the Typhoon Yagi, allocating a total of 650 billion Vietnamese dongs. The funds are distributed as follows: Lao Cai Province, 150 billion VND, Yên Bái Province, 100 billion VND, Cao Bằng, Lạng Sơn, Quảng Ninh, and Hải Phòng, 50 billion VND each. Tuyên Quang Province, 35 billion VND, Phú Thọ, Sơn La, and Bắc Cạn Provinces, 25 billion VND each. Bắc Giang and Hà Giang Provinces, 20 billion VND each. Hà Nội City and Hưng Yên Province, 10 billion VND each. Điện Biên, Thái Bình, Hải Dương, Vĩnh Phúc, Hà Nam, and Thanh Hóa Provinces, 5 billion VND each. With this latest allocation, the Vietnam Fatherland Front Central Committee has provided a total of 1 trillion and 35 billion Vietnamese dongs in support across both rounds. As September the 16th, the Vietnam Fatherland Front has received contributions totaling 1 trillion 236 billion Vietnamese dongs. Students in flood-affected areas have gradually returned to school. Schools across various localities have endured an unprecedented week, suffering the loss of students and teachers due to flash floods. As a result, the day schools reopened brought not only a surge of emotions, but also renewed hope to continue the school year.
After the opening day, many schools had to close due to Storm Yagi. Now they can finally introduce themselves, as people is delighted to be back at school.
I'm so happy to be back. I'm happy.
We never faced such a disaster in Yên Bái. We tried our best to recover and get ready to welcome students back to school.
Over 90% of students in Yên Bái have returned to school today. However, some families are still dealing with flooding, and many roads to schools remain damaged due to erosion.
Students haven't been able to attend school 100% due to family situation and the road condition to travel to school. We think that in a day or two, 100% students will resume to school.
Today in Lào Cai province, 77 schools, or about 13% of the total, have not yet resumed teaching. Meanwhile, in Cao Bằng province, only one school has not been able to reopen. The school will continue their cleanup efforts, and students will return only when safety is guaranteed.
Chà Vinh Province has made significant progress in vocational training and local employment initiatives for people from its constituent ethnic groups. The province's focused efforts in recent years have yielded impressive results, providing businesses with a robust and suitable workforce, while ensuring ethnic communities benefit from stable local job opportunities. This has significantly enhanced social stability and economic well-being in these communities.
Quỳnh Chi made the decision to return to hometown after years of working in Ho Chi Minh City. She can now be closer to and care for her family.
Here, I have more time to take care of my child, and I don't need to travel to distant provinces.
Chà Vinh is home to over 20 enterprises, employing between 500 and more than 10,000 workers each. These companies prioritize hiring local talent with a special emphasis on Khmer ethnic groups. The increasing presence of large companies in rural areas has attracted workers, including those from ethnic group backgrounds. These workers possess strong skills and high expertise, fostering the development of a new generation of skilled labor.
Our employees demonstrate a strong work ethic, excellent discipline, and a commitment to high productivity and quality, meeting all company standards.
Our department works closely with businesses and training centers to ensure that training programs lead directly to employment opportunities.
To meet the growing need for skilled labor, Chà Vinh has heavily invested in vocational training and now has around 40 institutions. This focus on education has helped Khmer people gain specialized skills and secure local jobs.
Following the 1952 Northwest Campaign, President Ho Chi Minh awarded the Engineering Corps a flag emblazoned with the words "Paving the Way to Victory." More than 50 years after the war, these troops continue their mission as fighters during peacetime, focusing on clearing unexploded ordnance. Modern-day engineering soldiers face more complex and dangerous tasks, yet they continue to carry out the ethos of paving the way to victory, working tirelessly to restore land contaminated by war.
Over 80% of the land in Guangxi province remains contaminated with the unexploded ordnance. The once hazardous areas, including rubber plantations and fruit orchards, have been reclaimed thanks to meticulous demining efforts.
Thanks to the soldiers, who cleared the bombs and mines, our family was able to develop fruit orchards with mangoes, jackfruit, and pepper. We owe it all to them.
Clearing unexploded ordnance is perilous work. Mines and bombs can detonate at any moment, and some even contain toxic chemicals.
Mechanical time delay bombs and bomblets are dangerous, especially ones that have been armed. Despite these challenges, we've managed to ensure safety and effectively handle these risks.
Guangxi's engineering corps have undergone rigorous training to handle explosive materials. As a result, over 36,600 hectares of heavily contaminated land have been cleared, and more than 826,000 bombs have been safely disposed of. Guangxi aims to become the first province in the country to be free of unexploded ordnance by next year.
In both wartime and peacetime, wherever there are landmines, there will be engineers. As soldiers of Uncle Ho, we are committed to overcoming all difficulties, even risking our lives, to restore peace to the land.
Our mission underscores the importance of the engineering corps' role in peacetime, particularly in demining and handling ordnance. This work is a testament to our tradition of paving the way to victory.
Land contaminated by landmines is gradually being reclaimed, with life returning to lands that were once former battlefields. Despite hardships, the engineering corps still continues their relentless efforts with the aim of restoring peace and safety to the land.
The Mid-Autumn Festival usually coincides with the start of the school year, when it's time to nurture hopes and dreams for the future. This year, however, the festival also comes amidst the aftermath of severe flooding in northern regions. As communities adapt their celebrations, the spirit of giving and support shines through, with many focusing on aiding those affected by the disaster.
In Da Nang, instead of the usual festive treats and vibrant dragon dances for the Mid-Autumn Festival, this school marked the occasion by focusing on relief efforts for flood-affected areas in the north.
I chose to sell lanterns. I hope the money we raise can help our friends in the flood regions to overcome this difficult time.
In Hanoi, students did not bring gifts or festive foods. Instead, they arrived early with books, supplies, and medicine to contribute to those affected by the floods.
While it's disappointing not to celebrate Mid-Autumn in the traditional way, this is trivial compared to the struggles of those in the mountains who have lost their homes and are facing severe hardships.
The spirit of generosity was spreading as donation boxes steadily filled with contributions.
I saved up a week's worth of breakfast and snacks to donate. I want to spread love and support to those affected by Typhoon Yagi in the north.
Teachers aim to make the Mid-Autumn Festival memorable for students, while also fostering values of empathy and solidarity.
This festival is a chance to build character, ethics, and a sense of gratitude for students from a young age. These qualities help my students to contribute significantly to our country in the future and are crucial for social development.
This year, as children gaze at the moon, their thoughts are with their peers in the flood-affected areas, hoping for a swift return to peace and happiness for those still enduring hardship.
Coming up next in our world news, climate change is biggest threat to global economy. And Houthis vow to continue attacks on Israel. Climate change disaster is one of the biggest threats to the global economy, according to the World Meteorological Organization. The number of extreme weather, climate, and water-related events have increased significantly, resulting in substantial economic losses. The impact of climate change is inevitable and will affect all regions of Earth, from heat waves and wildfires in Europe to extreme rainfall and catastrophic flooding in Asia. Natural disasters have caused significant damage to infrastructure, agricultural activities, and the livelihoods of people. Extreme weather events have cost almost 1.5 trillion of economic losses in the decade to 2019, up from 184 billion in the 1970s. According to Asian regions are projected to lose between 10 and 18% of their GDP due to the impacts of extreme weather. Generative artificial intelligence, or AI, uses 30 times more energy than a traditional search engine, potentially accelerating the climate crisis. Researcher Sasha Lucioni has warned as she wants to raise public awareness about the environmental impact of the hot new technology. The language models on which AI programs are based require enormous computing capacities to train on billions of data points, necessitating powerful servers. Instead of simply extracting information, AI programs generate new information, making the whole thing much more energy intensive. According to the International Energy Agency, the combined AI and the cryptocurrency sectors consumed nearly 460 terawatt hours of electricity in 2022. The leader of the Houthi forces in Yemen has announced that the group's operations against Israel would continue as long as the siege and aggression against Gaza continue, and they are planning for even greater actions in the future. His announcement came as Yemen's Houthi group claimed Sunday to have struck a military target in Jaffa, central Israel, with a new hypersonic ballistic missile. The Houthi leader highlighted technological advancements in their military capabilities, specifically mentioning a new ballistic missile reportedly used in the recent attack on Israel. The missile penetrated all the protective belts of Israel's defense system, traveling more than 2,000 kilometers in 11.5 minutes. Scientists are learning about babies' brains thanks to a new high-tech cap. The device tracks cognitive function and could one day help spot early signs of autism and attention deficit or hyperactivity disorder.
What's your baby thinking? Until your tot learns to talk, it seems like anyone's guess, but now researchers have a new way to delve into their brains. This wearable cap doesn't require full sedation, but it can still give scientists an idea of what's happening in those little grey cells.
The cap has lots of these hexagons in it that shine light into the head and measure how much light reflects back off the brain. And so by seeing the differences in levels of light that reflect back off the brain, we can map where brain activity is happening in the brain.
Baby Victor is wearing it today. The scientists want to look at his brain activity both with and without social stimulation.
And that's really interesting how early it is, because obviously they can't talk to us, and you pick up on these cues, but it's so interesting to see it lit up, how the brain lights up.
So one of the things that we see is much greater activation in social situations. Some areas of the brain are much more active when babies are watching people singing to them or talking to them than they are when they're looking at toys.
The cap can be worn by babies as young as 1 month old. The team hopes their research may one day help youngsters with certain neurodevelopmentally disorders.
And now let's take a look at the weather forecast. And that's it for this edition of VTV News. Thank you very much for watching. To rewatch our program, you can download VTVgo from App Store or Google Play, or tune in our YouTube channel at youtube.com/VTV4go. See you again at 3 p.m. local time.